Okay, so let's take a look at this function, especially the find standard deviation functions, right? So we have a main, and the main we have, you're supposed to implement a lot of functions, right? Including find number of scores, find sum, and find average, right? And then find lowest and find highest, and find standard deviation, and then find the median. And now, so don't worry about this call by reference, call by value. Okay. Now, if you look at the pseudocode, right? If you look at the pseudocode for the standard deviation, the standard deviations, this has to be changed to score and average, right? So you have to add the average as an argument. So I already did, right? So I already added the average as additional argument for this find standard deviation, right? So that means this standard deviation, right? To find the standard deviation, this function need score, which is a list, which is the score, right? And then the average. Average is from the previous function. So to find the standard deviations, right, you need the average of this list, this score list. And to find the average, you need to have how many of them, how many elements in the list, you have to know that. And then you have to know the sum. But this find num score and the find num, these two functions returns num score, so how many elements in the list, and then some of the elements in the list, right? So the prerequisite is you first implement find num score functions and find sum score, find sum functions. So as you can see, I implement this find sum score and find num score and find some score, find some functions, and then find the average. Oops. Okay. But by the way, you are not, for example, you are not supposed to use Python built-in function, right? But I just did it. Just this is for the demonstration purpose. I just use the Python built-in function, but you are not supposed to use any built-in Python functions except the len. Okay, having said that, let's take a look at the formula for finding the standard deviation. There's a formula. The formula for the find the standard deviation, as you can see, is this. This is the formula for the standard deviation, and the sigma is the standard deviation, and then root square, and etc. So let's take a look at this formula, right? Let's take a look at this formula. Okay, so this formula says sigma is a standard deviation. So let's take a look at this. Sigma is, right, is square root sigma is a square root and 1 divided by n. N is number of elements, and then you have a sigma, which is summation, and I is starting from the 1 and all the way to n, right, all the way to n. Okay, all the way to n. So let's just focus this, let's just wait a few seconds. Okay, good. And then what? Xi minus xi minus what? Xi minus mu, which is the average, right? And then square. So that's the formula. So first take a look at this. Let's first take a look at this summation, right? Let's take a look at this summation first. And then we're gonna divide it by n, then square root. So first, take a look at this summation, and I is really starting from the 1 all the way to n. So let's say in our list, right? In our list. So how many of them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Right. So there's a 15 elements. For us, I mean, if we run a Python, like find num score, right, and this function will return 15. So we know that for us is for this particular example, the n is 15. But if I look at this formula, it means the summation, right? So let's take a look at this. The summation is, so when I is a 1, right? So let's say this means I is equal to 1 through n. So when I is 1, so basically the I, right, is 1, 2, 3, all the way to n. So this is all the way to n, right? So when I is a 1, that means x1 minus mu, which is average, right? And you know that this symbol here is a summation. So I'm going to add, right? And then when I is equal to 2, x2 minus mu, oh, by the way, sorry, I forgot the square. So there is a square. And then square, and the summations, right? And then when I is a 3, this is what? Third element. So this is like first element in the list, in the array, second element, right? And then x3 means a third element in the array, in the list. And then you minus mu is average, and then square, and then you just keep going until n, right? In our case it's 15, so xn minus mu square. In our case is n, since it's n is a 15, basically x15 minus mu square in our example, right? Okay. Having said that, then let's say this is your then this should divide it by what? This should be divided by n. In our case, this is a 15. So say divided by n, right? And then you have a square root. And then you have a square root. So basically this is the standard deviation, sigma. Right? Okay, so let's just, if you look at our example, the first element is 98, right? So basically sigma is 98, 168. So in our example, the n is 15. So this is like our example, n is 15, and x1, the first element is what? 98. And then 98, right? And then we run the Python, right? The average is 86.53. So 86.53 square plus, what is our second element? The second element is 100. So 186.53, I mean the subtract, right? And then square, and then just keep going. Then divide by 15, and then you have a root, square root, and then you have sigma, which is standard deviation. Okay, so that's the formulation. I mean, this is like a formula for the standard deviation. Okay, so let me stop my lecture here.